My exhibition is about my reflections over the way I interpret my own emotions and how they impact the way I perceive the world. They highlight how different perspectives over our own habits can help us control our feelings, rather than letting them control us. My first artwork, Your Little Demon, focuses on acknowledging others' pain, highlighting that each person carries with them their own struggles and issues. The little girl represents someone who is very naive and innocent, who might be seen as having no problems. By having this representation and the mess she carries behind her, the idea of imperfection is being enhanced. The photograph The Black Saturday deals with my struggles as an Israeli to be here in Germany, while so much tragedy has happened there. By presenting a supper yet with no food served, I show the difference between the external situation in which I am, where everything goes as usual, in contrast to my feelings within myself, where actually nothing is normal and a sense of emptiness and longing are profound. Immediately after acknowledging others' struggles, it was important for me to present a positive manner in which we can approach others and support them. The painting's small actions underlines the significance of empathy and the many different manners in which one can help other people. My fourth artwork, Drifting Beyond Control, conveys the sense of losing control, being lost in the great ocean. It highlights that it is often better to let go of your will to make everything go perfect your way. And essentially, this action will take more than it will give. The next two paintings deal with identifying our mindset habits and consider the way they impact our daily actions. Beyond the Horizon reflects on the idea that our feelings are not necessarily affected by the external situation that we are in, but primarily by our own interpretations. Sunglasses are a separation between our eyes and the world around us, representing the significance of separating the events happening to us from the meaning that we assign to them. The painting The Mind is an Open Door shows a room with two endless doors, representing the mind. The idea for the artwork started with my personal struggles of making decisions, yet I believe it's a general struggle that we all face due to the unstoppable opportunities that we are surrounded by. Each door leads to another one, which represents the incapability of us to decide and to focus on what is best for us. Celebrating Life consists of 4 photographs of people at different ages celebrating their birthdays. Birthday is an opportunity for us to pause and to reflect on the lessons we have learned, the areas we grew, and our aims for the future. Yet I believe this kind of reflections and gratitudes are ones that we should do throughout our lives and always appreciate what we have, not only one day a year. The last piece, Embracing the Flaws, was inspired by the philosophy behind the Japanese art kintsugi. As the viewer looks at themselves through the broken mirrors, they observe the many flowers which bloom from those breaks. This represents and highlights the significance of acknowledging our imperfections and embracing them as a means to have a healthy relationship with ourselves.
The themes of my exhibitions are all related to my personal experiences. I was inspired by many art movements such as Impressionism and modern Japanese anime styles. I applied those techniques to my painting process, therefore I can better express my feelings. My first artwork is called Turquoise Blue. It is a digital painting created using Procreate. For me, the growing up process is opening one door after another. The sea is one of my favorite images, so I use it to describe my personal growth. In the beginning, I was comfortable with my fish tank, but gradually it's turned into an aquarium and finally the endless sea. In this triptych, I changed the major color from cold blue to mysterious purple to show the world in my eyes at the different times. The second artwork is an acrylic piece which called Apartment 77. Inspired by the color style of Impressionism, I began to intentionally control the use of color in my work. This painting is based on my photography of the gates of the apartment I used to live for 15 years while I was in China. The title of the work is the number of my apartment 77. When I edited the original image, I chose a nostalgic blue color to convey a vintage feeling. At the same time, I created a vague dreamlike texture with impressionistic style brushstrokes. The third artwork is also a digital painting which called Who Am I? I like the way photography Henry Crater Bresson's photographs capture a moment in time, not just a record, but as a symbol of vitality. They remind me that we are made up of countless unique moments and that each one deserves to be cherished. By erasing the characters in the photos, I wanted to convey a sense of sadness as the loss of personality. I hope to remind the viewers of the pain of being ignored and forgotten, and the importance of being respected and remembered. The first painting is called The Dance Class, which is also a digital painting. This painting depicts a dance class I once took while in China. I was influenced by Edgar Degas' oil painting, The Dance Class, in the same and colors, but the work itself is based on my personal story. So in China, I had to take dance class in my kindergarten to meet the public's expectations of a perfect girl, but actually I preferred and was better at drawing. I hope that by depicting my rebellion against stereotypes, I can convey the idea that people are free to choose their own lives. My final artwork is called Mr. Schrödinger, which is an installation made from cardboard box and watercolor paintings. My cat's name was Schrödinger, and he died last year. The name Schrödinger comes from the physicist of the same name and his Schrödinger's cat experiments. In short, the experiments was about the audience not knowing if the cat is alive or dead until the box is opened. Although this is a complex physics problem, the imagery it brings up remind me of my cats. So I reconstructed the same of Mr. Schrödinger playing near the box at different moments, based on photos I had taken of him in the past.
My art exhibition is about the concepts of tradition as well as trauma and emotions. The collection of works work together, creating tension and harmony. By looking at each individual artwork, the intention and meaning of emotions should become clear. My first artwork is called Something's Different and gives an internal view of a person's mind and point of view. It shows the feeling of when inexplicably everything becomes different and you start to feel like a robot, watching yourself from a third perspective, like a video game. It is a hard feeling to describe and was best described through the drawing. My second piece is called Echo of Time and represents the shift in time, especially the change of architectural culture. The old buildings are replaced by smooth, perfect lines, symbolizing the loss of details. The broken frame shows the downfall and loss of culture. My next artwork talks about the emptiness that fulfills people's lives, which is not being talked about, as well as the never-ending stream of life. The landscape is a representation of hope and positivity which still exist. The abstractness leaves room for interpretation for the viewer and shows us that there is no clear answer to everything, but rather that life is open to interpretation. Horrors of Reality is very direct. While on the first side seemingly only talking about war, it also shows us the horrors of reality and how brutal it can really be. The next work represents the way that our younger self is looking at us, in this case in disappointment. Disappointment in the way that the older self is living. The film tip wrapping around the man represents his feeling of feeling trapped and being caught up in life. Shattered Hope is my next piece and represents hope. Even when everything's falling apart, hope is the last thing that breaks. Next, we have Urban Metamorphosis. Contrasting to the other paintings, it is very positive and shows how life can spread in all kind of places, presenting hope and change. My last work is called Modern Rush, showing the clash between old and modern, two worlds colliding rapidly. The old house in the back gives a piece of peaceful and old school feeling, while the red tag saying Rush sticks out. It represents the way that us humans often rush in our lives and forget to enjoy the small things in life.
So my exhibition was inspired by loneliness and social isolation and the feelings that person experiences while he's lonely. My exhibition was inspired by the book Golden House by Salman Rushdie. So the first artwork is Bright Future, and in this artwork I try to depict a lonely person who is sitting in a room, but the room doesn't have one of the walls, so he's kind of sitting on the edge and looking at the horizon. With the yellow colors, I try to represent the idea of hope, because the hope is the only thing that stays with a human being while he's being lonely. And with the all dark colors, for example red on the right side, I try to represent the pressure the person experiences while he's being lonely. The second artwork, Profile, represents the destructive nature of isolation and its effects on person identity. Through the colors, I try to represent the parts of identity that are falling apart while a person is being isolated. And since the identity is represented with purple, and purple forms of the blue, red, and a bit of the green color, I try to show the different parts of identity that are falling away from the person while the person is being isolated. The next artwork, Glow in the Dark, represents three ideas inside it. It represents social justice, isolation, and cultural identity. On the right side, I try to represent loneliness through depicting a person who is standing alone between the rocks. In the center, I try to represent the idea of social justice through the white figure. Some people see the similarity with the Statue of Liberty in this white figure. Through the use of the white color, I try to represent the idea of social justice. On the left side, I try to represent the cultural identity through the mountains and through the person on the red background. The next artwork, Reflecting, represents the person's thoughts that are around him while he is isolated. Since the person is alone, he has no one to talk to and share his emotions and thoughts with, so the only thing that stays with him is his thoughts. With the different colors, I try to represent different emotions. With the red color, I try to represent anger and his confusion. And with the bright colors, I try to represent his idea of hope and that he's hoping that something is going to get better soon. With the yellow figure on the left, I try to represent the idea of the media, so some sort of the image of the TV. Since the person have no one to talk to, usually he's focusing on the media and he's that close to this sort of the TV, so he doesn't even notice anyone who is around him. At the bottom of the painting, the red color is shown in the form of the flame, because with this I try to convey the anger that person experiences because he doesn't understand why is he lonely and why he doesn't have anyone to talk to. The next artwork, Wisdom and Adolescence, kind of links to the idea of the third artwork, and they have some similarities. So the wisdom and adolescence are conveying four ideas: loneliness, social justice, identity, and environmentalism. Isolation are again represented with two figures that are standing apart from each other and they don't have the contact with each other, and with this representation of lack of communication, I convey the isolation. The idea of social justice, in my opinion, is represented the strongest here. I have shown the keyhole where the person himself is the key. With the gray color and the eye, I have represented the person's face, and with the gray colors around, I have represented the keyhole. The idea of identity I have represented through the eye, because in my opinion, when you look at the person's eye, you can see his identity and you can see who he is actually. The idea of the environmentalism is represented through the symbolism with the plant cells. These plant cells are dividing, and with the green colors I try to convey the life in them. The last artwork, It's Time, kind of serves as the call to action, and it represents the idea that people must stand up against the challenges that are placed upon them and fight them back. So with the boxing glove, I show the idea of fighting back, and with the dial on the glove, I have shown that now it's time to fight against your problems and step up against the issues that you are facing.
My art exhibition is about the teenager struggles caused by external and internal pressures. Through the exhibition works, it should become clear what the negative thoughts are, but also how they can lead to something positive. My first exhibition piece is called My Own Path. This artwork shows ants walking in a straight line just like they normally would. Having this representation shows how pressure is put on teenagers to follow certain norms in order to identify who they are. However, by leaving the line for a bit, one can figure out who they really want to be and create a more diverse community. My second work is called The Essence of a Teenage Mind. It highlights how sometimes you go through something that is painful and feels like it never ends. However, in the background there is growth, highlighting by the vines. Additionally, this growth never ends, as well as the face is covered, as it's supposed to involve every teenager that is looking at the work. Next, my artwork is about winter and spring. This piece is called Reaching for Spring, and is about how winter sometimes feels dark and endless due to the long nights. This can be linked to teenagers' emotions feeling overwhelming. However, taking step by step, it is noticeable that the light and spring flowers are coming back. This coming back of light is resembling the beauty that can be behind the period of struggle. Moving on, the next artwork is called Struggling. This sculpture involves a brain with words on it that describe a few causes of negative emotions, such as beauty standards and perfection. Having the brain be in the box and tied down by red strings highlights how these feelings sometimes cause teenagers to shut down and suffer in silence, as well as enclose themselves just with the negative. Having the holes in the box is a symbol for giving others different perspective to your thoughts by showing or speaking about it, rather than feeling the pain all alone. This can help with improving the emotions as long as it is done with care. Lastly, this piece is called Escape. This work is about giving yourself a break from all the negative thoughts that you seem to have at the moment. This break can come from situations, words, or places, just like this Norwegian landscape. Additionally, some symbols are hidden amongst the painting, such as the red T, which is the Norwegian hiking symbol for being on the right path. This also means that in your struggling times, you're following the correct path and you should trust it. Another included meaning is the sunrise, as it represents that there are new beginnings and you are not stuck in one situation.
For my visual arts exhibition, I chose to depict the theme of self-expression and the problems us humans face in being able to express ourselves to the fullest. My first artwork is a photograph which I have taken of my mother. With this piece, my aim was to empower her as a figure who plays a significant role in my family and in my daily life, and not someone who's only bound by traditional housewife roles which stem from many years ago. The god on the prayer plate which she is holding is called Shivji, who is one of the principal gods in Hinduism. With this, my mom is empowered, showing how mothers play a principal role in families. My second artwork is called The Small Lens, and it alludes to one of the biggest problems which I face in my daily life, which is a matter of trust. The lips represent a form of affection to a loved one, like a friendship or a relationship, but the eye in between is a self-destructive eye, which is placed in the back of the mind, wanting to overthink aspects of the relationship. I feel that no matter how close of a connection you have with someone, there can always be an evil eye in the back of your mind, making you want to overanalyze aspects of the relationship. My third artwork is called Society's Grip, which is an acrylic paint on canvas. This piece shows marionettes in various different positions and sizes. They are painted in vivid orange and yellow to bring forth a light, sun effect coming from within them. It is meant to be about anonymity and how they are getting lost in the crowd with their supposed uniformity, while also creating a sense of chaos. My aim is to show how people are getting in each other's way, all with the shared goal of wanting to express themselves. My fourth piece is called The Chaos Within. This piece shows that no matter how beautiful something is, the thoughts within can be destructive. To present this, the white is meant to read as a mask the figure brings onto themselves, constricting them from self-expression, showing how we can be our own biggest enemy that prevents us from blooming. Which is why the purple color signifies creativity, power, and elegance, and all the beauty which lies within this figure. This contrasts to the white area, which is disorganized to allude to what goes in the figure's mind, and how it is stopping himself from being able to express to the world. My last artwork is a triptych of photographs called The Stare of Envy. This triptych shows how insecurities stem from models who seem way larger and more perfect than us. I edited the image into black and white to give it a timeless documentary feeling, as the subject looks up at the much larger mannequins with an envious expression. Her inner thoughts make her feel worthless, leading to her diminishing her own self and identity. The shimmer on the face of the model is meant to create a focus on her envious expression, as she is not serene, but she is as if though she's having a troubled mindset about the world around her and how she perceives herself in comparison to others.
Okay, so my exhibition follows the theme of identity, specifically its oppression by different forces such as our own force, of our parents, of society, of the work life, and so on. So my first work is What Do You Have in There? And the work shows how even as children we are told who to be and how not following the rules lead to internal terrors. The room is in grease and blue, showing the set-out monotonous identity for the child, but what is in the wardrobe? A magenta scarf. The contrasting color reflects the child's attempt in stepping out of the box. My next work is You Determine Yourself, You're inspired by Ilya Repin's oeuvre. My work represents the aftermath of a battle between oneself and the regret that comes after destroying your own image, represented by the mirror. My next work is called Unsatisfactory Obligations, and in this work I've used the sheep as a symbol of the oppressed modern human who, like livestock, blindly follows instructions. It's forced to work in a very dark place of monotony, but they are shiny floating dreams, but it can't reach it, is shown by the hook that just passes through. My next work is My Sweet Obsession, and the work shows the effect of dissatisfaction on our lives, and how we try to find a shiny purpose, such as obsessing with somebody to find happiness. And I'm representing the obsession with a person through the metaphor of addiction, hence the widely known drugs. The shiny objects are created of human bodies, and they reflect how hyperfixation causes euphoria and delusion. The painting is crowded, creating a sense of belonging, but there is one toothbrush. So, sad. My next work is How Much, which is a diptych that shows the ability of others to change who we are. And this is a very personal work because I was inspired by, my situation where I was told that I do certain things this much and not that much. I felt like I had to change myself to fit within the expectation, wondering at the end of the day, if not this much or that much, then how much? My next work is called Irresponsible for a Figure Like You, and the painting represents the suppressed grown-up who is forced to contain their true selves in the setting of their work. So that magenta scene in my previous work represents the exploding identity. My next work is The Big Pink Bush, which represents the person who has accepted themselves, but the world still puts them in boxes. Literally, that's why I have so many boxes and even chickenware. And my last work is Self-Liberation, which is a reflection of the peace that one achieves when they just stop caring about the others and they just close their eyes and they accept themselves. So I've shown that acceptance through the metaphor of the flower, and also the color, the loose brush strokes of the flower itself. All of them just reflect that lack of care and the newfound freedom. So yeah, this is my work. I hope you liked it.